a service of CNC Worldwide.
The Daily is a service of CNC and Jib Jab greetings. I'm Bud Lowell, glad to be back with you after some time spent down south. Your full AccuWeather forecast is always on top of your CNC local page. Eastman Kodak is holding a town hall type meeting for its Rochester employees. The company held off earlier this week on announcing a winning bid in its patent auction. The Wall Street Journal and two bloggers who cover the industry said bids from Apple and from Google came in far lower than Kodak expected, in the $150 to $250 million range, rather than the $2.6 billion Kodak thinks its library of digital imaging patents is worth. The bloggers say Kodak is hoping a bidding war will develop between Apple and its iPhone and Google with its Android OS for non-Apple smartphones, and that it hopes will drive the prices higher. Owning the patents that apply to the way smartphones handle digital images could give one company or the other an advantage in future legal actions. And we'll have more on this in future editions. Repairs are finished on the Erie Canal at Albion, where a section of the canal embankment partially collapsed and threatened to flood the village. A 20-mile section of the canal has reopened. It has been closed since July 30th, when leaks resulted in a large sinkhole on the southern side of the embankment. The Canal Corporation says a broken culvert beneath the canal caused the problem. Work went on around the clock to get it fixed, and it will take a couple more weeks to fix Albion Eagle Harbor Road, which was eaten by the sinkhole near the canal and remains closed. The Erie Canal is run by the State Thruway Authority, and that is something State Comptroller Thomas DiNapoli thinks needs a review. DiNapoli issued a report on the Thruway Authority, saying it should exhaust all other options to increase revenue and cut costs before going ahead with a planned toll hike on large trucks. DiNapoli says a 45% average toll increase planned for big commercial vehicles next month could impact the state's economic recovery. He says Thruway Authority operations spending has grown nearly 36% over the past decade, but revenues have actually been dropping. And DiNapoli says the Thruway has spent more than $1 billion since 1992 on supporting the canal system. If you look at the Greecetown Library's webpage, the #1 announcement is about an iPad literacy program for children. The library has just been overhauled over the past half year, and Town Supervisor John Auberger says changing technology is a big reason why that had to be done.
For instance, when I took office over 15 years ago, the primary area was being able to provide adequate space for books. Well, now with the advent of e-books, computerization, and the use of the library for those types of things, we're finding that we have to retool. And Greece Public Library has kept up with that effort. And today we're just going to say we're going to celebrate it and to show people that we have that we can change with the times.
Auberger and other officials cut the ribbon Thursday on those new renovations. Monroe County is submitting half a dozen projects for funding under Governor Andrew Cuomo's Regional Economic Development Council initiative. Monroe County Executive Maggie Brooks says she thinks the most important one to the county's future will be a partnership with Monroe Community College to guarantee a continuous pipeline of college-trained workers for future businesses.
Because we have all these great companies that are creating jobs, and there are job opportunities here, but if we don't have the pipeline, if we are not developing the workforce and the skill set, we're going to fail.
Brooks spoke to the Greece Chamber of Commerce Eggs and Issues breakfast. And two young children are hospitalized after a terrifying accident Wednesday on the Erie Canal in Rochester. City police say John Clanton, a 48-year-old pastor from Zephyr Hills, Florida, had brought two of his children to visit another of his children at the Ronald McDonald House. That's on Westmoreland Drive near the U of R Medical Center, and it backs up onto the Erie Canal towpath trail. Clanton went to take a walk along the canal trail and was pushing a double stroller with his 8-year-olds Sam and Sela on board. The stroller got away from him and went over a 10-foot embankment and into the canal. Clanton jumped into the water after them. Meanwhile, a passerby called 911 and a bicyclist raced to a nearby shelter in Genesee Valley Park shouting for help. Two Rochester police officers were eating lunch nearby. They raced to the scene. And 3 URMC medical students were at the park shelter. They happened to be trained lifeguards. Two of them dove into the canal together with the father and the police officers. They rescued the two children and administered CPR. On this page, you can find links to these and other stories, and at the bottom, links for you to use. Post us your own news updates, sports, and salutes. We'll take a look at them and put them up here. Next news as it happens, updates when necessary. I'm Bud Lowell, CNC News.